Hello and welcome back to Space Engineers. In today's video, we're looking at another large block assault ship, where this one comes in two different styles, where one is heavily armoured and slightly bit slower in manoeuvrability, and the other one is made out of light armoured blocks and is much more nimbler while scooting around and blasting your enemies. So this thing they're currently standing on, and one right next to me, is called the Sparrowhawk missile gunship, which is this lovely thing all the way over here. And it does feature a tiny little interior, which is fully pressurized despite having a massive gap all the way down there. I don't know how it's considered pressurized, because if I try and do something like that on my ship, it will simply not work, but it works on this for whatever reason. So yes, this is the heavily armoured version in a very colourful colour scheme, and right next to it is the light armoured version in a much more military colour scheme in the greens, white and black. The only differences with this one is of course it's light armoured and uses the helm instead of the seat to drive it around. Over here, as you see, we do have a little flight seat to sit inside to drive this one around. You'll see more of that a bit later. So putting the camera like so, pressing F10, finding in the spawn menu, the Sparrowhawk is, type it in like so, there's them both together. It's only 88 for the light armoured one, and 84 for the heavily armoured one, so there's very little difference between both of them. Yes, for the description themselves, we've got a nice bit of information all about it, why it's been made, what it's for, and all the way down to here it says you should never stop moving with this ship, as a single unlucky strike can render you completely ineffective. Down here we've got specifications, and of course what it does on each of the toolbars. And all the way down to the bottom we see it's fully vanilla, survival ready, but it does use the Sparks of the Future DLC for these skins on the outside. So giving this thing a thumbs up, giving this one a thumbs up as well. Around towards the very front, have a look around the outside, have a very tiny look at the interior. We're going to fly around for a bit, and there should be an enemy on its way over to me. There is down there. I might be able to do the outside and all that before it actually approaches me. We're going to test out with his hit and run style against our little drone or anything else I can find in the distance. So my character can butter off just a little bit, off he goes, that'll do quite nicely. This is what we get for the very front for the Sparrowhawk missile gunship. So as you can see in the front here, what we've got is a very odd setup. It's a curved window with a window on the left and right hand side, but nothing underneath it except this hydrogen thruster. So looking up and under here, you can just reach up and get into the seat this way if you don't want to go through the door. And for whatever reason, it is fully airtight inside, although you will very slowly lose oxygen over time, very slowly. But still, it works at the end of the day. Don't know why, it doesn't work for me when I build my ships. So there is that. Yes, on the left and right hand side of the hydrogen thruster, we've got two artillery turrets to blast your enemies with, and of course your two rocket launchers on the main body on the left and right hand side. We will see on one side a spotlight half covered up to light up the general area, and on the opposite side will be replaced by a doorway to go inside. I would actually come around onto the side of this one. And there we are, so up there we see a neon skin, over there's a corrugated skin, down there's a clean skin, there's your doorway to go inside. On the inside here, nothing too much to actually talk about, simply could be the air vent and the seat to sit in. On the other one over there, simply could be the helm in front, and the exact same setup as well. Yes, moving across there, we can see part of our cargo containers, so we can access that if you want to do that. There's your rocket launcher, there's your hydrogen thrusters, come around onto the side. So there's our gyroscope to move it around, a magnetic plate below the thing to clamp it down. Over here's your survival kit. So if you do need a quick recharge, or perhaps you have a small accident on your adventure, you'll just respawn over here, just hop around and go inside into the ship. Yes, down to there is the side of our O2H2 generator. Up to there, there's an orange hydrogen tank partially covered by some armoured panels and some steel blocks. On the very back here, we've got some decorative fins, we have some corrugated armoured panels. And around towards the very back here, looking at it as a whole, there we are. So we've got two hydrogen thrusters to boost us around. Moving up slightly and looking down, there are for the very back. Onto the main body, hydrogen thruster, there's some hand skin in the black and white, there's your rocket launchers on both sides, and there's the top of our cockpit for our interior turrets on the left and right hand side. Moving all the way down underneath it as a whole, that'll do quite nicely with my light turned on. So there's a connected dock up and recharge this thing, magnetic plates we saw from the side, gyroscope only on one side, which will be replaced by steel block on the opposite, and well, just some blue, grey and orange steel blocks, and that's about it for the bottom of the ship, and that's about it for the outside of the Sparrowhawk. For a very quick look at the other one, which is sitting right over here, just spinning all the way around with my character now pressed up against the window. Here, there's a doorway to go inside, across to here, survival kit, gyroscope, oxygen tank at the very back, O2H2 generator down below it, to the opposite side. There's a battery, up and above. There we go, down and below it. There we are. So yes, it is basically identical on the outside. Once again, this one is a lightly armoured version compared to that one, which is heavily armoured. Yes, as I said, that's out for the outside. What it is, it's a nice simple ship overall use in your world. If you do want to have something very quick, very nimble, that packs a nice bit of firepower to deal with, say, oncoming drones, And well, now it's time for me to grab on my character, come all the way up to it, and go inside. So around over here, obviously we're going to lose all of our auction as soon as they open the door. So pressing that, there we go. Of course, the actual event is turned off, so it's not actually going to lose anything. Close down the doorway on the inside into here. Now I'm going to turn it on, turn that off, and there we are. So despite having the gap down there, despite me being able to open this up, around to the opposite side, get into the seat this way, it's still all perfectly fine, and auction is nice and high. Of course, let's come in here and actually find the event itself. So there's the event. You can see our room pressure is slowly dropping over time. You can simply just refresh that by turning it on and off and letting it recharge itself, or you just do the old-fashioned way, just carry some auction bottles on your body. But yes, in the first-person view, looking around, this is all we can see inside here, so not too much going on outside on the front. But for the controls, these are the only ones we get. So into the third-person view, press number 1, this will be your hydrogen thrusters at the front of the ship to turn off, so when you move forwards, you won't slow down, putting you into a cruise. Allow you to basically take your hands off the keyboard, off the mouse, as you are to fly over to your destination. Number 2 is then for your turrets to lock onto whatever you're locked onto. Number 3 is then to change what they're targeting. I've set it to weapons because I do prefer it overall compared to the other options. Number 4 is to turn your turrets on and off, so if you don't want to actually blow something up, you want to actually salvage it, you've got that option. 5 then for your magnet plates to turn them on and off. Number 6 then for your air vents to turn them on and off. Number 7 is then for your tanks to stockpile on and off. Number 8 is then for your connector below the ship to lock and unlock it. And then number 9 is for your batteries to auto recharge. On to tab number 2, we then got your O2HU generator on and off, your survival kit on and off. And then number 8 and 9 is for your systems all around here to turn it on and turn it off. That's more for docking this up and putting it into a low powered state. On number 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, we've got nothing else. So we're going to drive it around, and hopefully that drone, which should be somewhere in the distance, it might have despawned, or come and approach me. I'll go and test this one out. So moving forwards, here we go. And despite being a heavily armoured ship, heavy armoured block ship, this thing is bloody fast, great moving forwards, great coming to a stop, and just going to be absolutely fantastic in combat overall for that hit and run play style. Moving left, and we're right again, very good speed with that, it's going to be the same as forward and backwards, and of course moving down as well. But moving up is going to be slightly different, we've got 2 more thrusters, so going to be a bit better about moving up and just dodging any missiles coming towards you. In a first-person view moving around, this is what we get. Got loads and loads of control over this thing, where there is a tiny, very tiny hint of weight on this thing. But overall, it's very responsive, very overly responsive, where you're going to be able to just to maneuver this thing around as if, well, it weighs nothing. I suppose that is fine at the end of the day because there's no manual weapons on here. It's only turreted. So yes, it doesn't really matter at all. So in the distance there, I did see a flickering of a space pirate beacon, which we can head over to. So I don't think that drone is actually going to come over to me. I think it has been fully despawned by the game, which is kind of a shame. I was actually hoping it was going to come and interrupt me while going around the outside. So we're going to have to look through the spawn menu, find where the pirates are, and then go take the ship over to them and see how it handles combat. So I found some space pirates. This is a space pirate hideout, so it's going to have a fair amount of guns on the outside because it is built into an asteroid. So I can simply lock onto it from this range, high speed fly over it, let the rocket launchers do their thing, let the interior turrets do their thing, and see what kind of damage I can do to it, doing the hit and run play style. So here we come all the way across, going to make sure everything is now targeting that. Need to get into range, which would be about 800, and circle all the way around, come like so. There goes all the rocket launchers, there goes all the bullets from the interior turrets. I'm simply going to bombard them, fly all the way across, turning around, keeping momentum. And it looks like I actually did a fantastic job at disabling that hideout or the outside of that hideout without taking any damage whatsoever. Looking around here, I don't think I took any shots at all, which is jolly good stuff. In fact, I'm going to come up to it a bit slower this time. What's going on? And it looks like they actually did their job. Of course, I did fire quite a lot of rockets into that, so it's going to be quite expensive to actually run at the end of the day. And that's a very oddly low-textured asteroid. I'm not actually sure what's going on with that. Might need to refresh the game or actually start a new game world, so it looks very, very bugged. That's the damage I caused, and that's the base all the way on the inside. So that base has been fully disabled on the outside. That's, well, what this ship was designed for. And it was actually a successful test run, which for me is actually quite surprising and quite a rare occurrence. So at the end of the day, it's a fantastic little ship to use in your world. If you do, like I said, want to use a ship with nice little firepower behind it, that you go and destroy any kind of minor enemies coming towards you, and we'll just do that hit and run playstyle and just try and bombard the target while actually sitting and stopping and perhaps taking unnecessary damage. So be linked to the description below to check out the plan yourself. I highly recommend you do, as well as a link to the scub I was currently using. And we'll finish this off, just simply going to slam into this asteroid, and then that'll be that. So in 3, 2, 1, and there we are. Anyway, yes, thank you all for watching. Bye bye.